All right, welcome back, everyone. And we're gonna carry on with our capital forecast. Up next is we have Gary Giraldi again to talk about some community center items. So go ahead, please, Gary.
Good morning again, Madam Mayor and Council. Thank you very much. I'll get right into it. So the first BIP you have in front of you on the list is the NKCC roof. This item is being deferred until 2027, but it is included in here for information. So in 24, we applied 2024, if you may recall, we applied an EPDM, which is that rubber membrane seal to any of the steel roof seams that could leak under the right conditions. Wind blowing where they are and so on. We also reflashed, we also recaulked all around the four HVAC rooftop units. And just eliminated any potential for roof leaks, which happens, over time to time. And again, for information, that EPDM is the same rubber membrane that we installed at 135 Burley Street. And I think we did that about 16 years ago. It was inspected last year by an EPDM specialist, and it was still in great shape. So it gives you an idea how that stuff performs if installed correctly.
Right, Jim.
I know this is being deferred, but can you tell me what a fall arrest or a tie off is?
So we have a couple of anchor points and fall arrest points so that when staff is up there on the roof servicing the HVAC units, they can tie off so that
They can't leave.
they're nowhere near the edge of the roof.
Okay, so it has nothing to do with the roof, it's to
No.
protect your employees.
No, they don't, but if they, again, they're nowhere near the edge of the roof, but if they decide to wander.
They're not gonna go far.
Thank you.
So again, this item is being deferred, 21,000 was in the budget to finish the entire roof, but it is being deferred. Next item is the NKCC refrigeration plant. So as you know, every single year, we do a thorough inspection. We try to be proactive in, we don't replace stuff just for the sake of replacing it, but we certainly are proactive when signs appear, or symptoms, I should say, appear. So currently, we have a couple of specific Armstrong pumps that need to be rebuilt in 26. This includes full bearing assembly, shaft seal kits, gasket kits, back plates, and the whole bit. And we have budgeted, I have received a specific quote to do this work, and we have budgeted $8,000 accordingly. And it is in the budget. It is included, it's not a deferred item. And the second thing, the only two things for the refrigeration plant, the second one is big, not as big as it could be, but it is big, is for our cooling tower. So 24, and again, it explains all this here in the BIP, but in 24, the cooling tower was resealed. So the cooling tower sits on top of the flat roof.
Yeah.
And the idea behind a cooling tower, and it works a little bit differently than a condenser, is it takes a hot gas, a hot ammonia gas under high pressure, and it transforms it to a cool liquid. So that's your transformation in refrigeration. Refrigeration doesn't cool things down, it removes the heat from items. And that's how items are cooled. So when your refrigerator at home, again, I don't want to turn into a science class here, but that's how refrigeration technically works. It removes the heat from items. And in our situation where we use a combination of ammonia, which is just in the refrigeration room, and then your glycol goes out and collects the heat, and the ammonia takes the heat from the glycol. And then again, it becomes a hot gas and it transforms back to a cool liquid. The cooling tower is integral in that process. The cooling tower was all resealed in 24. And that extended the life expectancy huge because the structure itself is good. But there's also a pack, it's called an Evapco cooling fill pack that's part of that process within the cooling tower, and that needs to be replaced. We have noticed that the cooling tower this year is not performing as good as it used to perform. You notice it more in the warmer weather where, you know, your high pressure limits get right to the top. And again, it's because of this fill pack is reaching life expectancy. And with a new fill pack, it would keep the head pressures down. We would use less electricity and so on. The replacement of a cooling tower is about $175,000. So staying up on top of these components, because the tower itself is in good shape. We extend the life expectancy huge at a fraction of the cost. Oh, you want me to turn my mic on?
Now that you're done.
It is a long way.
No, I'm just this one.
Clean up and I
Deny.
I was testing and we're being recorded. My apologies. The next item on the list,
Is the Zamboni, aka the ice racer.
The electric Zamboni.
yeah, so we did, I'm sorry, if I'm too loud, I apologize.
You're not.
This item is also deferred until 2027, mainly due to the fact of the work that we just recently done to our unit in January of this year. Now, although a motor replacement of the little V6 motor was great, you still have all the other components within an ice resurfacer, being an Olympia or a Zamboni. Just like any piece of heavy equipment that Jason would have, you know, the motor is one thing, but then you've got all the hydraulics and other moving parts as well too. So we can defer it, and we have deferred it until 2027, and at the same time, we were continuing to look at electrical unit as per the wishes of council. And we also put in there a small cost that if and when this was done, that a level 2 charging station would be provided along, you know, with the charging station for the Olympia, that in the future, if any township vehicles were changed to electric, there would be the opportunity to charge them at that spot.
Okay.
If you're doing it, we figured we may as well include that at the same time.
Okay.
Again, that item is deferred. This item, the next item is the NKCC large arena surface plant fans, those big helicopter blades, if you want to refer to them as that we have. Those are very important for a couple of reasons. They really help the dehumidification. They speed up the ice removal process. And I'll say it again here, I always try to brag to the fact that we do not use heavy equipment in removing our ice. Pretty much every other arena that I know, they'll have to take a backhoe onto the surface or a bobcat on the surface to scrape off the ice. And we used to do that in the old Apsley Community Center. You know, by all accounts, using heavy equipment on the ice, if the operator is skilled, and you're not banging anything on the, you know, banging the bucket on the floor or anything, it can be done with no damage. But if you don't have to do it, like we don't have to do it, then that's a great asset. So we shave the ice down, we shave out all the game markings, we shave out the white ice, and we get down to about a 1/4 inch of ice left. And then we shut the refrigeration plant off, and we've got a desiccant dehumidification system, and with our big helicopter blades, 48 hours, the floor is dry. So it'll melt that ice and take up all the humidity, and we haven't touched the floor at all. So that to me is huge. It also helps to provide a breeze in the summertime, because as you know, we don't air conditioning that space. But one of the fans we've been struggling with, there's a gear reduction issue. The fan, as you know, is the age of the arena, 15 years old, and parts are becoming an issue to get. They're now recommending repair that's about $6,000. there's no guarantee to the repair, and a brand new fan installed is $13,500, and I have received a quote. So we're recommending that we replace the fan and we keep the existing fan for parts on the original fan that we have. It will prolong, we may be able to prolong the life expectancy of the existing fan, while installing a new fan. This year for the Lions flea market, because that was right around the time that we started to struggle with this thing again, is we rented some of the big, huge commercial fans. I don't know if you saw them there, and you know, we were trying to keep the floor and the air moving that way. It worked, you know,
It worked.
and certainly a viable option, you know, moving forward. But again, it's not as effective, and there's a bit of a safety issue with it too. The next item is the NKCC drinking water system. I know we've never discussed that before. But the, we are looking at, so Arco Purification was who originally installed it and did our RO service, was bought out by Evacuo, who is then owned now by Xylem. Commercial RO systems, you know, there's not a lot of companies that service them within our area or this side of the GTA. So we are making arrangements to have staff go through a training system. Evacuo is offered to put that on. But at the same time, we are budgeting for, you know, a full RO replacement, the membrane, replacement in 2026, along with other components of the system. And at that same time, when they do that, a training session will happen with staff, so that pretty much 80% of all the maintenance, except maybe the odd time where we get to something specific, can be performed in-house.
Good.
We do most of it in-house now, but the RO membranes is very tricky.
Yeah.
All the other stuff we do, but it's the RO stuff.
Okay.
Interior paint, again, this was budgeted for this year. It did not work out. We discussed this in our managers meeting. I had, in addition to myself, staff, you know, did their best to try to find a contractor that would meet our time frame of the areas that we want to get done, because it's a very specific time frame. It's about a 90-day window, and it just couldn't happen. So we, as you'll see here, staff did a great job at you know, touching up the painting and cleaning the walls where it was needed. But we are trying one more time in 2026 to and we've reached out to some new contractors that may not be in our area. My apologies on that one. The fitness center room slop sink, this was also budgeted for this year. The contractor that's doing it has asked, because it is going to be labor intensive. And we explained what's happening before with that. He has asked if he can do it between January and March during their company's slow time. Again, because it's going to be labor intensive and it's not going to be an in and out job. So they're always great to us in responding when we really need them. So we agreed to their request. Hence the reason why it's being moved forward. The W Wilson Park picnic shelter.
Oh, sorry, wait, we had a question.
Sorry, I had a little list that I was building up here just because we're moving so quickly, so in our community center. When it comes to the roof, this is something that was brought to me by a ratepayer. We're having an issue at the emergency exit towards the banquet hall where we're getting significant icing and then we're actually having to shut down an emergency exit over the winter. Is there any opportunity when we're doing the roof work to have that looked at the same time?
Good that you brought that up. So, one of our new, Parks and Rec employees has some, as I mentioned, extensive, steel roof experience. Actually worked on, I call it the Sky Dome, but he worked there in the Rogers Center. However, we've ordered some new, because of the roof's design, I'm not gonna say it was a bad design, but it wasn't designed, again, cause that's an emergency exit only. Right, that one door you're probably talking about.
Mhm.
So it's not a specific in and out entrance, so I don't think a lot of time was spent on what could actually happen there in our climate with the snow and ice.
Right.
So we have ordered new heat cable that's gonna go in that area. And that heat cable is gonna be not only just in that area, but then we've got that large east trough that comes off of that, and we've bought new extensions for that. And the cables are gonna run through that as well. Now, I'm not gonna say it's gonna work perfectly, but it's not, we've tried cable before, but the way we're doing it this year is a new plan. And if it doesn't work this year, then when we go to address, the steel roof, then at least we'll be able to take some pictures and show them. And we have discussed it, with Feeney, once when we were there too. But even if you put in any sort of, it's not like you can put in just a snow stop or an ice blocker, because it's not coming that way, it's coming. Like it's coming the opposite way, so even if you did that, I think it would just shove it up more. And you know what, we had that real issue in the corner there this year too. So we are gonna put some, and we're still gonna do the blockers and some heat cable. And the different trough in an attempt this year to try it.
Sure, thank you. And then just to get an idea of what it may cost, I realize that panel capacity has a big portion of it. But how much would it specifically cost to install the level 2 sort of personal charger for the ice resurfacer?
So when I spoke to them, he just, because of the work they're already doing, he just told me to add $15,000 onto our budget. So he didn't break it down what that included compared to what they were included. That's all he told me to add. Yeah, so
And
I
then,
didn't get a breakdown though of what was included in their work already in ours.
and actually my last one's for Judy. With like, we're at 15 years old on the building now, and there's gonna be continuing lists of items that need to be replaced. Is this something that's gonna be funded a portion by the asset management plan? Or like, I think this may be a good opportunity to incorporate the asset management plan into the replacement of items like community center infrastructure.
Sorry, which item
Like, are we planning on replacing or spending, using a portion of the asset management plan and saying 70% will be funded from taxes or OMPF, 30% will come out of asset management plan?
Like the future capital reserve.
Oh,
the
sorry.
future capital, so we haven't this year put that in,
Okay.
it's something to consider.
So it's that ongoing, right? As you're pulling and depositing, and yeah, okay. Great, do you have any other questions? Your list is done for now? Okay. Okay,
I'm sorry.
oh, no worries, so it's the Wilson Park Pavilion.
Yeah, so the picnic shelter down there, the steel roof and the gable ends are in, need of repair, need a replacement and need a repair. They use like a particle board. I mean, it's got good use out of it and we painted it several times, but the steel roof itself needs to be replaced. And the gable ends as well too, need to be replaced. We've inspected it and got some pricing, and the budget for that is $11,000.
Okay.
It's more than just the roof. The next item is partial carryover, so the Glen Alden Community Center deficiency inspection. The integrity inspection, so the inspection is actually scheduled for this month. And then we've the remaining money is deferred until next year. If any deficiencies are needed to be corrected. So there's no effect on this. The capital, it's parts being used and the balance being deferred. Carried forward, sorry. Should I carry on?
Yep, yep.
The Glen Alden Community Center roof, is identified as needing to be replaced next year. The roof is old. It was inspected and due to its age and condition, it was just determined that replacement in 2026 is proactive and necessary to ensure that there's no more water leaks. There's a couple of different materials that are used up there. You know, and some of it is really traditional, galvanized steel. And some of it is, starting to deteriorate, so it does, excuse me, need some attention. Next year, and the budget for that is $21,000.
Right, so
Yeah, go ahead.
what kind of roof is that?
Steel, well, maybe we'll
Yeah.
do steel, we'll do a replacement,
Okay, thanks.
and all the, everything will be reflashed and. Carry on,
Yep,
sorry.
yep, go right.
Riverview Park Development Plan, I know we discussed this during the tour. And the balance of the budget to carry on with our plan will be $27,000 in 2026. And that's a carryover, as Judy said earlier, from the Parks Reserve Fund.
Mhm. Good.
So I'm just trying to stay on top of where we are through the project. So what further development is planned in 2026?
I'll bring that forth to council
Okay.
when I'm not gonna go do anything without your
Yeah.
approval and input. But some of the things that we discussed at on the tour. And Carolyn, if you may remember some of the terminology better than I do as far as the signs.
Yeah.
There was a garden I think we were gonna plan. And then there's some more actual, remember down at the bottom, there was that clump of trees that we
Yeah.
wanted to remove. Some of it is just actual redesign or cleaning up some of the spaces that are there right now. Yeah, I won't pull it. This year, as you know, a lot of it was concentrated from the ice storm. We
Yeah.
spent months there.
Exactly.
But we will sure come to council. Our zero turn lawnmower has served us well. We bought a Toro commercial unit, other than regular maintenance throughout the years, the odd part here and all the maintenance is done in-house. Like I say, it served us well, but we do need a new one. We would like to keep this one as a backup mower. And we budgeted for a new zero turn lawnmower, and then the next BIP is a landscaping trailer to match it. Our current landscaping trailer is in good shape, but we would like to keep that, so, cause we've got the beach rake and we have other equipment. And there's times where we would like to divide and conquer. You know what happens, and it didn't happen so much this year, but there are times when, it'll rain and all the grass grows, and then you've only got 2 or 3 days of nice weather to get everything cut or before a weekend. And you just can't physically do it with one unit and one trailer. Or if somebody wants to go do, beach rake to beaches, so having that second trailer and having the backup lawnmower would be a huge asset to our department. The prices have dramatically gone up since we bought ours in 2014. The current budget that I've included there is $26,000, and that does not include a tariff that he almost promised me wouldn't be there. at the time of purchase next year. If it is, we will have to reassess, the more, we're looking at, because the tariff was like $5,000 on that mower.
Really something, they could buy a car for that.
Yeah. Made me aware of it.
Alright. Colin?
What large areas are we cutting with the zero turn mower right now?
Wilson Park, Lions Park, the NKCC, it's huge. Fire hall, lots of grass at the fire hall, especially when you go back and so on. Then there's Shanghai's Beach, that's not huge. Wilson Park, sorry, I meant Corey Bay Beach, I meant to say, I mean, the list goes on, we have a lot of areas, I don't have the acreage here in front of me. But we do have some very large spaces. And a zero turn mower cuts the time. It's not just the turning. It's the speed in which you can cut. So like a normal ride-on tractor, you're only supposed to cut that at the same speed in which you would push a lawnmower. So ride-on tractors are just for convenience, so you don't have to push, you can ride on. But there are some zero turn mowers, I don't even remember the name now. But there are some zero turn mowers where you can like cut effectively at 15 kilometers an hour. Ours you can cut effectively at 10, 11 kilometers an hour. So it makes a difference, not just the turning. Let me know next. Waste, okay, apologies. Waste, we've got a carryover of our closed landfill site monitoring program. Next year is our last year under our current contract with our consultant. So we'll be looking at doing an RFP at the end of next year. And currently we have some capital monies that is used, for monitoring wells and drive points, all the background monitoring equipment and infrastructure that's needed in our closed landfill sites. There are a couple of things that we are working on. There's a couple of sites that we are looking at applying to the ministry on. And I do meet with the ministry tomorrow, regarding transfer stations and landfill sites, but we would like to meet with the ministry in February, their analytic division, on some of the things that we don't think we no longer need to do in our monitoring. And that would reduce our annual costs, in doing so. One is gases. There's some gases that we test for that never show up. There's a couple of sites where we would like to do semi-annual reporting. And this is all justified through the numbers we get back. As somebody once asked me, how long is there a set period of time that you have to monitor these sites for? There is not, but at some point, once you have enough of history of, good results or no results for that matter, then you can start to make a case to reduce your monitoring, responsibility or, because again, everything that's written in a closure plan, the closure plan is like the law for that site. And until you can have a proven track record in history, that's when you can meet with them to apply, have some of that stuff reduced. So that's where we are now, where we've identified some areas and we've met the threshold of, 10 or 15 years and so on.
Jim?
Does it test for the leachate as well?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you can tell how far the leachate is going,
Yeah, they can tell all that in their annual reports, yeah.
and it's only costs $11,000.
That $11,000 is just money that was left over and deferred for new drive points or wells. We've got 8 closed landfill sites. Sometimes the drive point will get damaged, sometimes the monitoring well will get damaged, and that is used to replace that equipment. That's got nothing to do with the monitoring itself.
Doesn't,
We spend $100,000 a year on
I was
monitoring.
gonna say that makes more sense, yeah, okay.
Does that make any sense?
Yes, it did.
Yep.
It did to me anyway. So it probably doesn't make any sense.
No, it's me. But, you know, sometimes I don't explain it well, my apologies. The next item is the food cycler.
Yeah.
So we budget again, for the food cycler, and under that new, our new method now that we worked on to get, and that Sean is, implementing, you know, right now, we're into a month for us. Unlike in the first time where we had to buy them all up front, you know, pay that big invoice and then sell them and get our money back and create time to ship. Now they're bought online, shipped direct and so on. So our, you know, our financial commitment is just for our portion and the shipping costs. So we budgeted for that next year for 100 units, as you'll see there in the BIP. However, currently, my suggestion now, because again, I did a check yesterday, my suggestion that today would be that we still look at doing this in 26, but we maybe defer it until, you know, when we relook at the results of our program this year.
Mhm.
Cause we're 5 weeks in and, I think we've sold about 10 units. Where when we went our first round, the first time, I mean, we pretty much were sold out. We had like 25 left over that took us a while to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sold a huge bunch in the first little bit. So I just think we should take a look to see how this goes before we make that final commitment.
Go ahead.
Do we have to buy the 100 regardless?
Well, under the old program, yes. Under this program right now, they only bill us, for our contribution and the shipping. If we don't sell our 100 after a year, then yeah, we might get billed for the balance, but in the past, we got billed for them all up front, no matter
I know,
what.
yeah.
So, you know, my answer to that would be yes, eventually, hence the reason why I'm saying that, you know,
Yeah.
we should see how long these take to sell and then, readjust the situation. You know. I just don't wanna have
Yeah.
too much of a commitment out there at once.
It just isn't the hype this time as it was the last time.
Well, there is, we get lots of calls and there is online, and Keely Ann's done a great job, with, Sean, Keely Ann's here. She's done a great job with Sean and getting all the stuff out. And like I say, you don't, now it's so easy for a seasonal resident or a permanent resident because
Yeah.
you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have, you know, before you had to come in and pay, and you had to pick them up on a certain day. Now it's just like you buy it online, shipped right to your house.
Good.
You know, and there's probably more advertising now than there was the first time.
Just time it. Yeah, so we'll go through cycles where we.
I was just, there's just no urgency this time. There's no date where the program ends.
Yeah.
People aren't in a rush to get
It's a very good point. Although we do say that, you know, we've got a limited quantity,
Yeah.
which is true.
Which is true.
Yeah, we've only got 100. We've only got 90 now.
Gotta push it for Christmas season. What's a food cycler for Christmas? Next to my socks.
The next thing is the retaining wall at the answer of the transfer station, and I know Jason could probably speak to this as well too, but where you dump your garbage and where our garbage bins are at the answer of the transfer station, and there's a metal railing there, and there's landscaping rock as a retaining wall there. Well, the landscaping rock, as we all know, looks great. people will use it, you know, in a lot of areas, but as an effective retaining wall to stop material and stuff from eventually throwing flutes, you know, flowing through, it doesn't work as great as some of the products that Jason has mentioned. And we would like to rebuild that wall next year with a proper interlocking block that Jason has suggested, and we've budgeted for that accordingly.
Perfect.
And that'll be done in-house. With our beloved Public Works.
What are you gonna
Department.
do with the used landscaping rock?
We could,
I was looking, I just didn't.
I'll defer that to Gary.
I mean, if, sure, the township has a need at another location, and if not, would that be something, you know, we could sell probably? I mean, that stuff is dear.
I know. But if we can use it elsewhere, that makes sense too.
I'm sure there's gonna be another project that the site that
We can stockpile it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Reduce my, our Riverview Park project.
That will naturalize that shoreline for you.
They use that for like natural playgrounds and stuff now, you know?
They remove all the
They do.
trees and the
Yeah.
rocks and then they try to sell back these fake plastic trees and rocks. It's the most ridiculous thing ever.
Back in the day when we had monkey bars mounted in cement,
Yeah, that's right.
you know, he fell
Super
once.
high.
He fell once.
Anyway,
And the last item on this, on my list here is a roll-off bin for the transfer station. As you know, we had one budgeted for this year. We had one budgeted for this year, and we have one budgeted for next year. The one for this year, we tried to defer to next year, and we were gonna try to defer next year's to the following year. That didn't happen. This year's one, it's mainly the frame. Patches, we can patch, and we do that all the time. But when the frame goes, the frame goes. So, as you know, we're in the process right now of replacing the one that we tried to defer. And, I looked at them all again there just the other day, and we need to continue to keep one, in the budget for 26 as well.
Yep.
And that's the animal proof.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
Hard
Yeah.
design.
hard to say.
Madam Chairman,
Yeah.
These bear-proof bins, when they go out, do they take them out? And take them someplace to empty them, or do they empty
Yeah.
them there?
So through you, Madam Mayor, what happens is we have the swing bin. Well, we currently don't have the swing bin, that's, but we're getting a new one. We have 5 bins. You got 2 in each side. So the contractor is able to keep one and empty one at their location. So when we call for a pickup, they drive up the empty, drop off the empty, pick up the full, take it down, tip it, return to their site, which is 10 minutes from Bensford.
Should have known you'd
That's-
have an answer.
That saves incredible amount in transportation fees. Otherwise, they would have to make 2 trips
Exactly.
and we would pay for that accordingly.
Perfect.
Okay.
Time as well.
Cool.
Is there actually a use for 2 new bins? I understand that Waste Management wasn't coming as regularly this summer as they have in the past, and the times that I was in the dump, they were often all completely filled.
But we're not adding to our inventory, we're replacing our inventory.
Is there
Yeah,
use
there's a
for adding?
Oh, is there use for adding?
Yeah.
Well, we had space, as long as the contractor, you know, can keep up to our requirement, no, we don't necessarily need to add. Yeah, that's, the answer is yes, but then the answer is also no, like, you know. It's a hard one, right? It's kind of like Shandos Beach, remember when we had like 10 garbage cans there? You know, and they all filled, but then when we reduced it to 3, I mean, you know, just those 3 filled, so I mean. If they were serviced regularly, and I'm not blaming it on the contractor, because it was a crazy summer, then, and there, we had the March ice storm, we had all of those leaf bins and everything
Yeah.
to deal with. We shouldn't need more bins, we can always use extra bins, it would be nice, but then you've got the space issue to deal with. And we would need to make an application to amend our ECA. So we just can't go add anything on top of what we currently have, without amending our environmental compliance certificate with the ministry.
Mhm,
I
fine.
remember last time I mentioned this, people looked at me like I had a third eye, but, the Winters Bay dump. I think we passed the 50 years portion where it doesn't need to be monitored anymore. Is that removed from the list?
We don't do any monitoring at Winters Bay.
Not anymore? Okay, that's,
Yeah, no, I don't. No, Winters Bay is not on my list,
Okay,
guaranteed.
all right. You're good? Good, and we're a little bit ahead of schedule.
4 minutes.
I
is
know,
so
I know, you
much.
should give him some candy. No, you're done.
Oh, I'm sure we can.
No, you know what, we make Jason, make everybody wait for you, so.
Okay.
Now that you've spent all the money.
Items were deferred, and a lot of them are smaller amounts
It's-
too. but- Thank you very much.
All right, no, thank you. And you're up next, Jason. Talk about some road stuff.
Morning, Madam Mayor, and members of council.
Good morning.
Getting close to afternoon.
Almost.
I'll try this.
Yep.
Right, first EIP I have on for today is this 2007 replacement of the tandem plow truck. We just recently discussed this and we're not anticipating receiving this till June, even though I pressured a little bit to see if we could get it earlier. I'm still looking at June. Sorry, I'm looking at the dollar amount is $75,220. Funded 300,000 from OMPF and 75,220 from future capital reserves. And that's the one that we're supposed to receive next year. And then we have 2 more coming, hopefully bigger than that one.
Colin?
are we able to, I think we approved with Winslow Geronimo for this most recent purchase. If they're being very unflexible on our 2023 purchase, the one that was gonna cost a little bit more, and I think was over towards the Muskoka area, do we have a timeline when they'd be able to provide that for us?
I didn't know, because when I had the discussion, it was only with the vendor that we were looking to, so I never had a discussion with them about the delivery time. However, what I would say is, so this 2023 purchase, my understanding was it was an issue with transmissions that was causing some of the delay. The Viking plow equipment, that's the delay that we're looking at currently. So that's why we're expecting delivery of these 2 newer units in 2027, like early, they're talking February. They've kind of cleared up the issue with the automatic transmission, so the cab and chassis delivery to Viking Skies in Mount Forest. There's those cab and chassis will be delivered a lot sooner. And then both those units, so even though they were different cab and chassis, they were both Viking plow equipment that was spec'd. So that delay is just in the having the plow equipment installed. So I don't know that there would be an advantage. I mean, I could reach out and ask, but I don't think there would be an advantage at this point because that's where the delay is now is. They've got hundreds of trucks sitting there waiting to be built.
It may be worth adding to the RFP system or the RFP for pieces of equipment like this that are amazingly in my mind 2 to 3 years out, but other municipalities are experiencing the same things. I know it's not an us thing.
Right, and we try to stick with there are different vendors for plow equipment, however, then you're running into different parts, we have to carry extra parts. Where a lot of our stuff right now is interchangeable, even the plows are interchangeable, the wings are interchangeable. It just gives us a little bit of flexibility in our operation, but keeping it consistent.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's that one. So the next one I have, is there any more questions on that one? Sorry.
No.
Not trying to jump ahead.
Just get the truck.
Just get the truck.
Just get the
I'll
truck.
keep pressuring on it. The next one we have is, this is also like a carry forward.
It's all right.
It sure is a carry forward.
Yeah, so we have the culverts. We're currently, we're waiting for an executed agreement with the landowner. That's the holdup. So as soon as we have that, there is the potential, depending on how our fall carries out, if we could get that landowner agreement, we could potentially do it this fall. But we're looking forward to 2026, because we don't know what the weather's gonna do to us and when that agreement will be signed.
You'll never get
Anticipate-
less water.
Yeah, I know, right? Do you anticipate that, that will be forthcoming, the agreement? Alana?
So I'll take some responsibility for this agreement. It's been back and forth with our solicitor a couple of times. And it is a carryover project from COVID. But it's one of those projects that other projects just keep taking priority over.
Yeah,
So yeah, what we talked about is when we send out to the landowner to cover this fall and next year, so that we have the 2-year window.
uh-huh,
The only concern would be if the property sold, we'd have to get a new agreement, but our plan is to kind of get that agreement over the period of time, and I just need to review it with clerks department and public works and get it out.
okay.
This is on private property, the culvert. Why are we doing it?
Oh, Jim. Well, let's go way back to 2019.
I know, I've been through it. No, they won't even.
We're doing-
they signed the agreement.
No, we're doing it so we hopefully don't ever have to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
The last one washed out.
So this is, it is an area that this Newsfield Pub is also very concerned with as well, but that was the intent in the 2019 timeframe. Was that, this major repair be completed and then a report be brought back to council to change level of service on that road and the distance that is maintained, because it really does serve mainly hunt camps, I believe, or only a couple of properties beyond that point. But there is a vested interest with the snowmobile club there as well.
Yeah. It is popular trail, so. Okay.
Questions on
And you got them.
All right, so the next one I have is the new double surface treatment project. So this is this was the report that I recently brought to council asking to defer halting. So it's just kind of a carry forward item. You'll probably notice in the report that I did originally, there's a little bit more money added in the capital budget. It was just because after I did that report, that report was for the pricing based on that 5-year plan.
Right.
However, there is an area there that is prone to flooding. So that when we're doing surface treatment in that area, we'd like to change the elevation there a little bit to keep our surface out of the water. So there is a little bit of an aggregate adjustment there in the capital budgets.
Good.
Or will it be funded other? Have we got another account?
So the details are down below.
Well,
Any other than the details are down
Carry
below.
forward.
I know.
That's the slush fund, Jim.
I just thought, oh, that's all. I didn't tire of just sitting here.
Okay, give him a candy now. Okay.
Can I just put other for all of them?
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so this next one is this is the surface treatment projects that were addressed in that 5-year plan.
Yeah,
This is for next year.
This is for next year, yeah. So we did have some price adjustments, which I'll discuss with council. So in the original plan, I went back and did some checking to see what the prices were when the plan was estimated, and I provided some of those costs in there just to give council a bit of an idea of what prices were when this plan was created to current day pricing. So the original plan, surface treatment for a double surface treatment was going for $850 per square meter. They're anticipating the cost at $929 next year. The 9.29% increase is not a typo, even though it seems like it is actually the percentage increase from the original estimate. And the same as the aggregate. So there's a couple things driving our aggregate prices up. Number one is the cost is increasing since that original plan. However, we've also, in doing some of these projects, we realized that we've underestimated some of the aggregate in the original plan. When we're trying to do improvements to the roadway, it's not like a uniform lift of gravel, which we identified in the original plan, and it was kind of a maintenance layer added. We're changing some elevations in some certain areas, so we do need extra funds for aggregate to make those adjustments. And then we also needed some extra aggregate for entrance adjustments. As we change elevations and raise roads, we need to adjust driveways and other entrances. So those were the drivers that drove the costing up. One of the other things that we did not have in our original estimate was rental equipment items. And those are costing a little bit of money. You know, we have to run a steel drum compactor over these surfaces, make sure that we're compacting the aggregate. As we're installing culverts, we're using a plate packer to make sure that we're not getting that frost heaving in the culverts that you'll see or settlement in them either. And the other item that we had to use this year is we had to hire a contractor with a hydraulic rock breaker. We ran into quite a bit of rock in some of the locations, and I mean, for us, waters are kind of a road's enemy, right? So we're trying to divert water away from the roadway. So we got to make sure we can get the ditches cleaned out and get the rock broke out of them. So we're anticipating quite a bit of rock removal this upcoming year with some of our projects. So we've included quite a bit of rental cost increase just for the hydraulic excavator with a breaker. And questions on that one?
No, I can just understand the rock though, when we did Anstruther Lake Road, they, took, 6 inches of soil off the bedrock. And we had big dips and big, you know, and, so it cost us quite a bit more money to cover that.
Yeah,
Did we ever end up getting compensation from the county for the damage that was done to Glenalda Road while it was being used as a detour, or would this be an opportunity to reach out and try to get some funding?
there was. Oh, go ahead.
To be sure, like I wouldn't know that. I'd have to research it, but I mean, I can research it.
But I think there was.
So like Colin says, it's 100%, they might have supplied a couple of things of gravel, but they were, see, when the bridge was out, we had to use that road.
That's right.
And, they said when it came time to do this, I have it on my note here too, they would definitely kick in. So definitely kick in there. And you won't need maybe as much other, you'll be able to use it. You know. But, they said they would kick in, definitely. And if they tell you they put 3 loads of gravel on it, say that's not kicking in.
There was maintenance that was provided during the construction period for Glenalda, but yeah, I don't know the specifics about that. We have our draft budget coming next Thursday. So we may want to talk to Doug before then, just to find out, but I mean, this is one of the reasons why we pulled Glenalda forward too, right? So we're focusing on the south, but folks out that way went through a lot, so I feel like if we could get, you know, this improvement on this road done, that's a good thing. It's sort of say, hey, we felt your pain and here we're trying to make it up to you. So, but if the county can step up as well, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Just asking for the 500,000.
Yeah, aim high.
I'll do that. I'll say on the recommendation of.
Who has to go and vote against it next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
I will definitely look into that.
Okay.
Thanks, Colin.
Next is the microservice.
Yes, so council may remember, I'll just do a bit of a synopsis. I won't go through the whole BIP, but you probably remember, during the storm in 2022, there was some damage done to the surface of the roadway.
Yeah.
There was a track machine and it kind of created some rumble stripping there. We had got an insurance settlement, to do the remediation on that. We're looking at alternatives. I read the recommendation, not 100% sure that it was the right recommendation, I guess. And so when we had, and when I say that, I mean through the insurance's recommendation. So recently, you probably remember, we did some micro surfacing this year on Tucker Street North, Oak Ridge Drive. You've seen similar product put on Jack Lake Road. Some repairs on 504. Oak Ridge Drive is in the vicinity of this, of Shawinigan and, Napier. And, we had the contractor go in and review that area, and it was a simple ask to say, could you remediate that with micro surfacing? And the contractor is very confident they can. I think the surface will stand up better just because of the material that's currently on the road. So we're looking at that option, and if it works out for us, which we're confident it will, it would also be a product that we'll probably recommend in the future for maintenance layers on McFadden Road, Simeon, Lee, those types of projects that we have.
Right. Okay. So like, and specifically to address, like when we did our roads tour, I'm not sure if you were with us, when we saw the breakup
Yes,
in some of those areas, so that's like what we need to address, and it can do that.
they can, yeah. So what they're recommending is they would go in and actually do handwork in those specific areas with the microsurface. So they'll do the repair like with actual laborers.
Okay,
And then there'll be a double surface applied to the entire project.
okay, Colin.
Yeah, it's been a couple years since I've been down there, but the rest of the road was in really, really good shape. I was wondering, is it too early to do the micro surface on the rest of the road, and we should just focus on the patch that needs repairing?
We can, the problem is when you have a transition strip, which is what we would have, so pretty much, like quite a bit of Napier was damaged. So it wouldn't give us a consistent road service if we don't do the whole thing. And if we just do Napier, when the plow goes to turn onto that, you're gonna have two different levels of surface, if that makes sense. So the plow is gonna catch it.
Yeah.
And cause damage to that surface. So that's why we're recommending doing the entire surface. You're right, the road is in good condition. It was just to give the consistent driving surface through the whole project. And then the last one I have is professional consulting fees.
Jim's favorite.
What, you're not doing the in-house?
So this one is a roads needs assessment.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they're mandated, but they are a best practice in Ontario for municipalities to have these assessments done every 5 years. For us, I think a driving factor this year will be to update our asset management plan. But we're also asking for additional funds for traffic studies. That for us is very important as we recommend capital improvements into the future. We would like to substantiate those decisions with data. So, you know, roads that have higher traffic volume should be the focus of our recommendations, in my opinion. So that's why we're asking for I think last time we had it done, it was around 35,000, but we didn't include the traffic counts. So this would update our road classifications too.
I think that's important. I think there's been significant changes on some roads over the last 10-20 years for sure, right? Which could affect their classification.
That's right.
I'm voting no.
Yes, you do. Good thing we're not voting on this right now. Colin and then Alana.
How expensive is it, and you may not know, it's totally fine, but for the municipality to buy one piece of equipment to do traffic counts wherever we feel the need?
So I can elaborate on that a little bit. So for us to buy one piece of equipment, the amount of time that it will take for us to capture all of our road networks we do have a traffic counter. But I mean, to get accurate counts, you need to do them at various times of year. And so to do a count here, you know, I'll use it just hypothetically speaking, say we were doing Burley, but we put it out maybe once in the spring and we do a count that day, but then we'd have to bring it back again at another point in time. So to capture the entire road network, it would be, you know, it would take a exceptional amount of time to do that. We do just recently, I couldn't talk about it before, but we did recently get the Black Cat from NPP, and we did get some training. So for specific areas, we can set that up to get some counts, but I think it would be pretty onerous for us to buy one piece of equipment to capture traffic data.
Even if we just wanted to have one for a specific instance, not for the purposes of eliminating the roads need study, are they terribly expensive?
I'd have to research it. I mean, but we do have one that
Yeah.
it does
We're
work.
already
So we,
working.
yeah, and as far as I know, the Black Cats are pretty, they give pretty detailed information too.
They can actually, like, it's the size and type, like, of vehicle, like, they can distinguish between, like, if it's a transport or if it's a, you know, an ATV or a motorcycle, like, it's a lot of information you can get with that, right?
Yes.
So I'm glad to hear that we got it back, but go ahead, Elaine.
Just before Jason leaves, and I'm sorry, Jason, I should have mentioned this to you earlier and hoping that Judy can pull it up there for you. I didn't know if council, we didn't really go over the 10 years for most of the departments. Most of them are the pre-scheduled replacements. But I didn't know if you wanted to touch on how you brought out, at the end of the 5-year surface treatment plan, consideration into the next flow of roads. It is some time out, but do you want him to go over the 10-year? Right now, kind of the direction that he's heading to provide him with any input.
We can, yeah, this is the last part, right? So it'd be good to know, because yeah, we are kind of winding up, because there are other roads, and I've actually been getting inquiries from some folks about, when are you coming to do my road? It's like, we're making our way slowly, so.
So I don't have the info, Judy's gonna pull it out for me,
Okay.
but I can talk about it a little bit while
Yeah.
she's looking for it. So I think the last year of our plan, we discussed, McCauley's Road was kind of the last, portion of the existing plan.
Right.
And then in there was some detail about, you know, there may be some maintenance layers in that last year. Then there could be. So beyond that plan though, instead of doing like another 5-year plan, like a written report, we've just added it into our forecasting for the next 10 years. So some of the projects that we have identified were, we're looking at, higher volume roads, so more of our arterial roads, obviously, but we're, also logistically speaking, some of them get prioritized that way too. So one of them, we're looking at, the way the projects are laid out. So we have Eels Lake Road, is scheduled, up to West Eels.
Oh,
And I say that because.
Conflict of interest.
interesting comment with all the people that use my road.
I don't have them in order, so.
No, I know.
The order will change a little bit, I think, as we get that roads need study and I get the data from that. But we do have identified Clydesdale Road. We've identified Eels to West Eels. It's kind of prioritized with Clydesdale because of logistics. We chose to West Eels just because the traffic data supported that it kind of drops off a little bit after we get back at the. Our intent is to come back to it. It's just trying to prioritize with the information that I have
Yeah.
currently.
Can I ask, because there is that portion where the bridge is, where it's actually paved,
Yes,
so how will that impact, like, just because I'm familiar with it, right? Like, so is it gonna be that pavement be removed and it's all gonna be just surface treated then?
yeah, so I don't know that, I think that is actually just a surface treatment.
Oh, maybe, okay,
It seems that way when we get into it a little bit.
okay, yeah, you may be right.
And Trudy's pulling it up first now. So,
Yeah.
like I said, the order is in flux, I guess is the
I
best
get
way to put it.
That's great, that's great.
Roads top.
Yeah, I've got it
Pull
up
up
here
the top.
too,
Oh, you want okay, sorry.
because I see,
Thought you
because
were meaning the, sorry.
So- no, but in 2027, we see what we've got, the Julian Lake, Long Lake,
Yeah.
Middle Lake, and then
Yeah, but-
2028, and then 2029, 2030.
Yeah, there you go.
And down the
Right.
roads. Scroll down a bit.
There you go, you're in there.
Yeah, come in there.
Right. So you can see in the last year of the plan is the surface treatment of Collies, and I talked about so I should speak again. We talked about maintenance layers on some of the roads in that last year of the plan. We are seeing some cracking in our road surface in the estates, Chandel's estates. In the estates, so Antelope Trail, Gazelle, some of those roads are, showing some signs of distress. So we've actually included microsurfacing, so similar product, like I said, that we were using on Oak Ridge Drive, Tucker Street North, where we may look at that surface, at maintenance layer surface on some of our surface treated roads when we get back to them for, maintenance layers. Just put down, or up a bit, sorry, Judy. Yeah, there we go. So the first year outside of this plan, we're looking at segmenting Clydesdale Road just because of the length of it. It would be unachievable for us to try to do all of that 1 year. So we've kind of broke it down into 2 years. So the first segment would be from Jeff Road to Caldwell Road. And then the next year would be Caldwell to Rose Island, but in that year, we've also included rehabilitation of Halls Road down in the southern part of the municipality. The following year, 2030, we were looking at finishing Clydesdale Road, and that's when we would move over to Eels Lake Road up to West Eels. Sorry, Mayor. The following year after that, in 2031, we were looking at Last Wade Road. So all of these roads are longer arterial roads that require quite a bit of maintenance, whether it be gravel, grading. So we're trying to target those areas to kind of drive our operational costs down in those years. Oh, and then we talked about maintenance layer already. So in that 2032 year, we talked about, oh, sorry.
Okay,
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
we had talked about micro surfacing, McFadden Road that year. And then Jack's Lake Road for a maintenance layer, that would be micro surface is gonna be my recommendation probably in future for maintenance layers. So we just, we think it's important. I don't know that we need a formal plan. You know, we can kind of go this direction with recommendations. Obviously, like I said, these are in flux the years. It's just to give council an idea of the projects that we're looking at. And when we get that roads needs assessment, we'll reprioritize those projects and bring it back with some supporting data.
Yep, okay.
Good.
Oh, Anna?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to bring that to council's attention because this is the 10-year capital forecast that we're talking about. So there are a few things that will influence, as Jason said, you know, the dates, the timing. You know, would be any other changes due to weather. The roads need study will likely prioritize certain roads. The asset management plan as it gets developed will also identify. So those will be incorporated, but just to see that we are looking forward beyond 5 years.
Yeah, and to your point about, you know, bringing back a specific, like the next 5-year plan, I'm not I think because it was a new thing, right?
Yeah.
That was introduced by Jeff, right? But we've committed and council, and that was something that we talked about for years and years, was that, you know, it's not just about maintaining roads, but wanting to actually improve upon them and I mean, and it's, we have a 10-year forecast now, right? We can look at it in 5-year blocks if we want, but I don't necessarily think you need to do a special or a separate report for that, because like you've clearly laid it out here and we can see where we're going, so, which I think makes sense.
I think too, it's important to know when we do it in this fashion, we are accounting for inflation.
Yep.
So we're trying to keep those costs as accurate as we can moving forward. So there is inflationary costs in these budget lines.
That's good.
And I think we used a 3% inflator.
But we look at this every year, right? So we can
adjust.
adjust those things and account for any changes, so. Looks good, thank you.
Jason.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. 5 minutes left. We'll summarize it all.
Be careful on the meeting. So if council is okay with us moving forward with the items that were brought to your attention today. As mentioned before, we will be using the asset management transfer of 406-376 to fund this. So I'm not sure I should mention again, we do use the OMPF funds for our capital and major expenses each year. So that's where the funding comes first for these capital items. If there's any carry forward, we do that. We have set aside or earmarked some funds from the modernization and efficiency funding that we received in 19. So we're using some of that, maybe, that wasn't used totally. I'm trying to think which item that was, the business, the organization, sorry.
EV chargers.
Did we use it for EV chargers?
There was, yeah, 11,400 or something, I
Yeah.
think that we had earmarked, so we're using that towards that, towards, yes, to the EV chargers. There was $8,348 remaining from the organizational review that, so we're using that in here.
Mhm.
Anything that we can use at all, some funds, the continuity of operation plan that it was earmarked, but we're going to be doing it in-house, so we're using that towards some of this. We were just pulling wherever we could to try and cover.
From that other place. Jim,
So if we, agree to everything that everybody brought forward, where you've got funds to cover without going to the tax levy.
Correct, using the transfer, for the asset management
Right.
plan that we would,
now, and let's clarify, we always do, you budget, you look at $1 million for OMPF. Last year it was 1.234
Yes.
or something, so, and here's hoping. Which would then reduce the amount, we could actually put something into the asset management, right? We would say if it was that same amount, so about $200,000 that we could throw into this, and then it means that we're making a contribution to the asset management of 200 and some odd thousand, right? If we get more.
that would be my recommendation, whatever. Yeah, we
Okay.
get more than the 1 million would go into the future capital reserves.
Perfect. Well then,
So we still have two items that are deferred to 2027.
Yes.
That are not included. So there may be an option to either do those two and then put the remaining, or put all of the remaining into the future capital.
that's true. And yeah, depending, I mean, we get way more, maybe, yeah, like the B list, which is just 2 items, and it's through Gary's 2 items. Right? We're just. But I mean, there is, yes, of course, I mean, there is an opportunity.
So
Well-
we can bring it back once we know the amount.
Right.
And see what council's direction.
And the other thing is that and the thing of the beauty of doing this capital force, and thank you to staff, all of you for doing this and sort of helping us see into the future. Is that we're aware of this, so if something happens, knock on wood, Gary, that the ice reservoir, has a major crack out this winter. We know we're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, where did this, I know, I knocked on wood, it's all good, it's good, it's good. But I'm just saying, it's just that we know that it's there, and we know that we were planning for it anyway, and it just, those things happen, but we can tell, thank you for the update for the reserves and all of that, because, it's not like we're gonna be scrambling, so.
Do we have an update on what's expected to happen with the OPP contract year over year? Cause that's a potential
Nope,
massive change in our budget.
nope.
That will come with the operating budget, but no, we
Yeah.
don't have an idea.
Okay, and then the other thing that I just wanted to
Yeah.
very briefly point out, looking at the actual regulation where it says every municipality shall prepare its first strategic asset management policy and shall review and if necessary, update it every 5 years. So maybe we can begin with a thorough review before going into the actual updating process.
We're gonna have to do it next year.
We have to review it. We don't have to necessarily go through an update.
Go ahead.
Yes, we do have to do the update next year.
It's in the legislation to
Yes.
bring in the level of service, I believe.
Yes,
Okay.
so 2025
Mhm.
was the date, and we just did,
The review.
yeah, we did a quick review and, kind of a short update to be prepared to do a deep dive into it next year. After the roads need study and, conditions are done.
We gotta do it.
Now I'm reading the all right, but
So 2025 was the year.
There might be a
a different.
further
different
update in a
regulation.
different
Yeah.
part of the.
You gotta find the as amended part, cause sometimes you're looking at stuff that's dated way back. Okay, is there anything else on this? Okay, well, once again, like I said, thank you, Judy, and to Diana and all of the staff here, great work. Like I said, helping us look into that crystal ball and prepare. So, if there's nothing else, can I have a motion to confirm the proceedings of today's meeting? Moved by Ruth Ann, seconded by Jim Whalen. All those in favor? We are confirmed. Motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Colin and seconded by Ruth Ann. Thanks, everyone.